After almost 2 months on the road, we'd finally arrived in Liverpool and been hosted by Emily, a doctor from the Isle of Man, for 5 days.
Thank you, Emily, for having us. It's been really nice staying here.
It was a long break, so it was time to move on. And if the weather symbolised anything, it was that we'd well and truly arrived in the north. We were making a beeline for Newcastle, where we'd meet up with some friends and Jill was taking a visit home. So we had to cover 250 kilometres in 4 days. That would be the furthest and fastest we'd tried to cycle on the trip so far, and at a time when Jill's bike was continuing to throw up surprises.
Much worse.
Oh, so if you loosen...
I think this is the lefty tighty, righty loosey.
Yeah. More shenanigans with Jill's brakes.
They're just permanently on.
After hours of deafening traffic and a lot of stops to fiddle with Jill's brakes, we left the roads entirely to join the Leeds-Liverpool Canal. Cycling along waterways like this one, you can see how they were once vital arteries carrying goods and people all over Britain. But now they're mostly used by holidaygoers, and the industry that relied on them is abandoned or converted into housing, while nature is reclaiming the water. Following them, though, was like tracing a path through history. We wobbled along the water's edge, alongside canal boats and under bridges that almost seemed designed to try and topple you into the water.
Oh, God.
But the real and far more annoying hurdles were the countless bicycle gates, just a smidge too small to fit our fully loaded bikes through, that seemed to be everywhere.
What a ludicrous gate this is.
We went off here.
I mean, if you don't mind, but it's really heavy.
Oh, thank you.
Oh God.
Don't worry.
It's heavy.
We took big detours to try and get past them, but try as we might to avoid them, every single road led to another one.
These gates! There are so many of them! And another one. So going back this way. Great.
I might need your help.
Hang on. There we go.
So by the end of the day, we'd only made it 40 kilometres outside of the city, nowhere near the 63 we had to average each day to make it to Newcastle.
Another night in the tent. We're camping in a farmer's field. Knocked on his door earlier on and he pointed us to a field that has some horses in it, quite curious horses, so we were a bit worried initially, but they seem to have left us alone now. They were really in our faces at the beginning. These have been our neighbours for the night. I like this, that one rolling around there. And sort of minding their own business now, but they were quite inquisitive yesterday and we almost didn't camp here because they are quite big and intimidating.
Day 2 of the push to Newcastle. On we go.
Look what's happened to Jill's pannier rack. It's bent right into the wheel. Lovely stuff. Oh, one of your spokes is...
Oh no! So this is my very bent bike rack. You can't really see, but the spokes go along here, and this is just twisted completely like that, and so now it goes below the spokes, which makes it quite difficult to bend back into place, as if it wasn't already difficult enough.
As much as we tried, there was no way we were getting that front rack out of the wheel. And after half an hour, we realised we were going to have to give up on this leg of the journey and find the nearest train station. But wait, what was that sound in the distance, echoing across the fields? That was Dave.
And it's coming back again.
The local handyman riding to our rescue on a child's quad bike that he'd modified to go about 40 miles an hour.
God. Thanks, Dave.
Oh, nice.
It'll hold it for now. So how far have you got to ride?
Another 45 kilometres.
45
Oh
kilometres
my God.
today, but we've got to be in Newcastle on Tuesday.
Back and forth he zoomed, fetching tools to try and fix the rack.
This is the guy that's helping us fix it. Thank you. Cheers, thanks for that. Problem solved temporarily.
And with that, our mysterious saviour and his trusty steed disappeared into the sunset.
This is Jill's new bike setup. Now that she can't have anything on the front here. In fact, I put one of her panniers on the back of her bike, and I'm carrying some of her stuff to lighten the load. That means we have to try and make it another 150 kilometres to Newcastle before we can get it fixed. And tomorrow, I think we're cycling up our biggest hill of the trip, and it's going to be one of the hilliest days of the tour so far. Yeah, bit of a setback. Another day, another mechanical issue.
Oh no, that wasn't the plan. I'm just gonna pretend that never happened.
Oh man, it's getting really dark. It's getting so dark. But we're getting quite close now to our hosts.
We rolled into Gargrave on the edge of the Yorkshire Dales well after dark, where Steve, a former Canal lockkeeper, had said we could spend the night at his house.
We made it! Oh my god, you can't see anything on here. What a day. Thank you guys for having us. Yeah, thank you for a lovely evening.
Our pleasure.
You're welcome. Okay.
So that's Jill's bike now. Lovely new setup you got there, Jill. This oat milk has been through so much. And then I've got Jill's other pannier on the back here.
Oh! Did you grab my penknife?
Take two. It's going in. We cycled along the edge of the national park to Skipton, before turning onto a tiny road and disappearing into the hills, heading for the steepest climb of the trip. It was probably the worst possible time for me to have an entire extra pannier on my bike.
We've just entered the Yorkshire Dales National Park, and it's about to get very, very, very hilly.
So we're currently getting to the highest peak so far, or the highest climb we've done so far, and I can see it ahead of me and it looks a little bit daunting, but we're in the Yorkshire Dales and it's so beautiful. This is our third day of our 4-day push. Well, I'd like to pretend we cycled up it, but we didn't, because it was 25%, what the hell? This is brutal. There he is. Everyone in their cars keeps driving by and laughing at us.
This is ridiculous. Fingers crossed, that's the top. This is absolutely knackering.
Just keeps going and going and going.
I'm struggling with this. Oh my God.
You're doing good, we're so close. Good job. So close.
We just made it to our highest point of the trip so far. 1,600 feet, roughly. I'm not sure if I've done the maths right on that. We're at the top, or we've just passed the top. It was knackering, and now we've got a huge downhill.
After all the climbing, in what felt like a reward for our efforts, my phone rang.
So after our day of pretty brutal climbs, we thought we were going to have to just pitch somewhere or knock on someone's door, but actually we have a place to stay. Oh my goodness, this is the best news ever, and we're really not that far. We're like less than 10 miles.
We couldn't believe our luck, so we pushed on just a little bit further, to Una and John's house in Richmond, fueled by the promise of a meal, a comfy bed and a shower.
We're almost there. Both absolutely dead after some hills.
Yet again, the kindness of strangers took us by surprise. Seeing the state of Jill's front rack the next morning, Una and John dug out one of their own and lent it to her to use for the rest of the trip.
Thank you guys for having us. This was such a nice surprise. And we got a new rack as well. But we'll mail that back to you.
Yeah, have a good day.
Thank you.
Good trip north.
We thanked them, said our goodbyes, and set off on the final day of our push to Newcastle.
This is one of the fanciest meals we've had, like, in the middle of the day, I think. We've cooked some rice and heated up some ratatouille and mixed it with some pesto, and it's
Got some chili beans.
got some chili, kidney beans. On a normal day, it would probably be grim, like if we weren't cycling, but for a cycle tour, this is 5-star Michelin food. Thank you. Oh. Thanks.
We inched closer to Newcastle, and at long last, we spotted the Angel of the North, stretching across the sky as if to welcome us with open arms. Despite all that had gone wrong, 250 kilometers in 4 days.
Woohoo! Whoa, look at that!
We'd made it to Newcastle.
Just crossing the bridge, the Tyne Bridge in Newcastle. This city is so cool. I've been here a couple of times before, and every single time I'm just like blown away by the entrance to the city.
Welcome to my home.
Hello, Lee.
Yeah, I can hear you cycling it.
We made it.
We made it to Newcastle.
We're really tired. It was a long 4 days. Somehow made it here with your broken rack.
Yeah.
That's outrageous.
Yeah, it feels good. We had a nice extra workout carrying the extra bag.
Yeah, I ended up carrying 2 more bags than Jill through the Yorkshire Dales, which is the hilliest, like one of the hilliest bits we've done.
For 25% incline.
Yeah.
After a very long break in Newcastle, we packed up our things and got ready to leave.
Bye, guys. Thank you for having us. I'll miss you.
Yeah, I mean, you might, yeah.
I might, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I definitely will. I'll pine. I'm going to spend a lot of time pining.
And caught a train back the same way we'd cycled, completing the journey in just a few hours this time, rather than 4 days.
We're back in Liverpool! Once again! It's not cheating because we cycled the way that we just got the train in reverse. I think that's a bad way of saying it.
about it.
We cycled from Liverpool to Newcastle and got the train back from Newcastle to Liverpool.
We stopped off with an old friend in Liverpool.
Look who it is again!
We're
Hello,
back.
Emily. We're back in Liverpool. Thank you for having us yet again.
Emily is from the Isle of Man, and that is where we're going tomorrow. Before finally, after 2 months of wondering if it would even be possible because of COVID, we prepared to leave the UK. The next stop, the Isle of Man.